Well, 2020 is long gone, and I know a lot of us are happy to say good riddance to what had to be one of the most challenging years in our lifetimes. Just because the calendar page has changed, does that mean we can really say goodbye to the things we hated about last year? Do our problems just go away like that? Can we just snap our fingers and turn all those negatives into positives? Sometimes the answers to those questions lie in the stars. And today we're going to explore the role of astrology in our lives. To that end, I've decided to pick the brain of my favorite astrologer, Sharita Starr. Sharita is an astrologer, numerologist, and lexigrammist with over 20 years' experience and clients spanning the globe. Welcome to the Dream Power Show, Sharita.
Thank you so much again for having me, and Happy New Year to you and to your listeners. It's nice to be back. I know we were in a very interesting conversation about this time a year ago.
Yes, and like I want to tell you, Sharita, you nailed it last year. I mean, you told us in that conversation that 2020 was going to be a roller coaster year that would shake us to our core and force us to actually reevaluate our reactions to things around us and reevaluate how we handle life. And I have to tell you that when the pandemic started, you were the first person I thought about, because then I said, oh, this is what she was talking about.
And when we were talking about the unexpected, that's
right.
That was it. And what was the tone? And of course, I guess to me, if it's unexpected, you can't know what it is. You can't foresee the exactitude of what the unexpected is. Otherwise, how can it be unexpected if you can foresee it? We can foresee it was unexpected, but there you go. It was what was foreseen energetically is that everybody was going to simplify in 2020. There was
that is if they heeded the advice and simplified.
Well, I don't think anybody was excused from simplification. At some point throughout that year, they did. They either were stopped doing their regular routine. There wasn't any country in this world that didn't do that and experience periods of time where they were just locked down, sheltered in place, whatever the country wanted to call it at the time. And obviously, I need not draw much attention or focus to how our country didn't quite unify on how every state was going to do this. So we were all over the map of how we handled the whole thing. But every other country went through the second wave. Everybody went through this in intensities, depending on where you lived and where you were. So, nobody was excused, really. I don't think, I think some people are built for this. Some people like being isolated. Some people like chilling out away from the world. And other people don't handle it as well because they're very social beings and they don't know what to do without interaction. So I know mentally that's really hard on people. And, we can't take away what has happened in the next round of what's going to be happening here as we're looking at what's coming up in 21.
Right. Well, one of the things that I spent a lot of time on last year was helping people handle this crisis. And
yeah, you too.
Yes, and I talked to a lot of people and had all kinds of advice on simplification was one part, and the other part was just taking the time to slow down.
Yeah, and big one, top of the list right there. Slow down.
Very, very, very hard thing to do, but that was 2020. And Rita, you always come up with themes to describe the years ahead. Like in 2019, it was reachable and teachable. Last year, it was awaken to the unexpected. So what do we have to look forward to this year?
Well, I dare not tell anybody that if you really weren't very comfortable with 2020, 2021's theme of changing global truth is not going to sit too well with you either. So that is the theme of this year.
So what does changing global truth mean?
Well, we've moved. So when we were looking at 2020, we looked at a 4 universal year. It was Uranus guided via planets, which is where the unexpected came from. And of course, in the 20 energy, we're looking at awakening. So now we're looking at a 5 universal year. And this is where, I cross-reference astrology and numerology all the time. That's my specialty. That's what I do. So if you ever get a reading with me, that's how I look at your entire forecast or who you are as an individual. Is you're never, neither topic, neither divination tool is left out of that equation in analysis. So in 2021, we're looking at a 5 universal year. So now we're shifting, and not to say Uranus has got a lot going on this year as far as changing what's going on in this world, but on the numerology side of the coin, looking at the 5 universal year, we're looking at Mercury. Now we've moved from an outer planet influence to an inner planet. And if anybody's very familiar with that infamous term, Mercury Retrograde, what's going to happen with Mercury retrograde in 2021 is really going to knock your socks off. And it's also a time frame, and any Mercury retrograde, if that's one of the things I do, it's one of the courses I teach is mastering Mercury retrograde, because as an astrologer over the years, I kept watching people just go against the grain anytime it reoccurs, which is 3 times, give or take 3 times in one calendar year. And what people do is they do the wrong things under the transit instead of doing the right things. And there's always a right time and a wrong time to do just about anything when it comes to understanding your personal timing and what the universe is telling us we should or should not be doing. I'm a stickler for understanding this. It's a mathematical equation. That's all it ever is. Everything is mathematics when we really break it down in life. So
if I understand it correctly, last year we were under Mercury retrograde like a lot of time of the year. And
no more than normal. What happened last year was we had 2 other inner planet retrogrades that layered in almost every time we had a Mercury retrograde. So you had Venus retrograde that spanned last spring, and then you had Mars retrograde, which took us through the fall. But they all overlapped other Mercury retrogrades, eclipse seasons, you name it. And that was another reason why, aside from the numerical way of looking at 2020, where it was like, oh my God, the unexpected is just going to show up left, right, and everywhere. But we had, from the astrology side of the coin, it was just retrograde after retrograde. There was only 4 months out of the entire year of 2020 that there was no inner planets in retrograde motion. That's not a lot of time. So I don't know about you, but aside from what the pandemic served as far as delays, setbacks, and just, hey, you're not going anywhere right now, most people's plans, and I had said this to majority of my clients who, I have people that come and ask me what's a good day to get married on, and what's a time to be doing this next year, and so on and so forth. And I kept talking to everybody. I'm like, here, you've got a couple of windows, but I'm going to tell you, I still see no matter what you're doing, it's going to get changed. Your plans are going to be delayed, set back in some way. It's not that they can't happen, but they won't happen the way you think. You're going to reroute the whole deal. So most people I know still went ahead with most of their plans, but they either did it 3 months later, or they did it virtually, or whatever it is. I had my first virtual wedding last summer. It was kind of weird, but it worked, So this year, we don't have any inner planet retrogrades except for Mercury, which is kind of a bit of a blessing. But nevertheless, we're getting a lot of tension from up above. You're not going to misunderstand this theme of changing global truth. Humanity is fed up and it's done. So humanity is going to start to stand up for what it wants. And we're going to see a lot of resistance on this planet. It's not just going to be in America. It's going to be all over the place. This whole year is not comfortable. This whole year will make people's heads spin off, who want normal back and won't get it.
What exactly do you mean by that? Are you saying on a political sense, on an individual sense, on a country sense, or
all of them? Every single system, you know it, as you know it, that does not work, is not honest, is not the truth, is not sovereign, is not in discernment, is not done in any kind of right for humanity, the system is going to collapse.
So what is your advice for handling that on a personal level?
A lot of meditation, a lot of breathing. The news, as you know it, will not stop the fearing and the throwing things at you in a way that doesn't serve any human being's highest good. The media does not do that. The media is not here to serve humanity's highest good. I don't think anybody could argue with me on that one. But you've got to really filter what you see.
Sharita, we were talking about, looking within. And it's one of the things I was preaching all of last year, take the time to really look within, find yourself. So you're saying we just need to do more of that again, or to continue that this year?
There's definitely more quote unquote soul homework to do in this capacity coming up this year. And we were talking about the lexicgram of heart and the earth, and that there was this quote unquote earth heart shift that began very significantly in 2020. And that is certainly not going away. And I'm sure you heard about the infamous grand alignment between Saturn and Jupiter just on winter solstice last year, which was like 2 weeks ago. And this was in the sign of Aquarius, which is the sign of humanity. And so this was auspicious, this alignment. It does not happen every day in astrology by any stretch of the imagination. So when you take two planets like Saturn and Jupiter, Saturn, who is about accountability, wisdom, your authoritarian understanding, and the very structure of things, and the learning from any experience. And then you couple him with Jupiter, who's always about the truth, optimism, growth, and being reachable and teachable. You put them together in the sign of humanity, which is Aquarius, which is the water bearer, about bringing new life in. So we're changing the whole human experience. What we're doing a lot in 2021 is continuing that simplification, but enjoying what it means. We're getting more localized, supportive in our communities. Not thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be eating food from either across the country or eating food from across the globe. And not to say that those things won't still exist in some way, shape, or form, but the ability to do it is going to get a little different.
Sharita, how can people find out more about you and your services?
I am on the web, sharitastar.com. And just take everything from there. I do private sessions. Forecasting, of course, is very popular in this time of the year, but you can do your forecast when it's your birthday in the middle of the year, whenever your birthday is. Or I've got all kinds of different level, other forecasting packages, personal success packages.
Well, we've been speaking with astrologer and numerologist Sharita Star.